So let's talk about the truth about rejection. Let's get real for a second. Rejection hurts. There's no sugarcoating it. Whether it's a job you didn't get, a girl you thought was into you, or a business idea that falls flat, it stings. But here's the thing. Rejection isn't the problem. It's how we react to it that shapes our lives. I want you to let that sink in for a moment. Rejection, in and of itself, doesn't have the power to break you. It's your judgment about that rejection that determines its impact on you. Remember this quote from Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher. It's not things that disturb us, but our judgment about them. In other words, rejection isn't the enemy. It's just a thing that happens. The real enemy is the way we interpret it. You can let rejection knock you down, or you can let it build you up. It's entirely up to you. Look, I know how easy it is to take rejection personally. We all have that moment when we feel like a failure, like we're not good enough, or like we're being judged. But here's the truth. Rejection is just a part of life. Everyone faces it, no matter how successful they are. Take Michael Jordan, arguably the greatest basketball player of all time. Did you know he didn't make his high school basketball team? Yeah, that's right. Michael Jordan was rejected from the very sport he went on to dominate. But he didn't let that define him. Instead, he worked harder, played with more passion, and eventually became a legend. Or let's talk about Elon Musk. He was turned down by multiple investors when he started his first company, Zip2. He was rejected over and over again. In fact, his early companies nearly failed. But instead of giving up, he pushed forward. Look where he is now, Tesla, SpaceX, and revolutionizing entire industries. Rejection didn't stop him, it fueled him. So what's the difference between these men and the rest of us? It's not that they didn't feel rejection. Of course they did. The difference is, they didn't let rejection control their story. They used it. They used rejection as a lesson, as fuel to get better, stronger, and more resilient. And that's where most people mess up. They let rejection become their story, rather than a part of it. They let a no break them. But rejection is just a feedback mechanism. It's not a reflection of your worth. Think about the last time you faced rejection. Maybe it was a failed relationship or a missed opportunity. It's easy to look at it and feel like the universe is telling you you're not enough. But that's just your judgment talking. You have the power to change that narrative. Instead of seeing rejection as a reflection of your failure, start seeing it as a reflection of your growth. This is where Stoicism comes in. The Stoics understood that our power lies in how we respond to adversity. They didn't sugarcoat the pain, but they didn't let it control them either. They believed in accepting the world as it is and not attaching ourselves to outcomes. Think about Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who faced countless battles, betrayals, and personal losses. Yet, he always remained steadfast in his resolve. He didn't let the challenges define him. Instead, he saw them as opportunities to become a better version of himself. And you can do the same. The next time life throws a rejection your way, take a deep breath. And remember, it's not what happens to you that defines you. It's what you do with it that matters. Rejection can either break you, or it can make you stronger. And I'm willing to bet, if you adopt this Stoic mindset, rejection will only sharpen your character. Now, I'm not saying it'll be easy. No one's saying you won't feel the sting, but you do have control over your response. You can choose to learn from it, adapt, and keep moving forward. And that's exactly what separates the men who rise above from those who stay stuck. Remember, no one achieves greatness without facing rejection. It's a rite of passage, so embrace it, use it to your advantage, and most importantly, don't let it define you. Now, why is rejection the ultimate test of a man's strength? Let's talk about something that no one really wants to face, but every man has to deal with at some point: rejection. If you've ever been turned down, whether in a relationship, a job opportunity, or even just by life itself, you know the gut punch feeling? That sharp sting of defeat can sometimes feel like it's knocking the wind out of you, leaving you questioning everything. Why me? What did I do wrong? But here's the truth. How you handle rejection is a test of your masculinity. And I'm not talking about the kind of masculinity that's about flexing, showing off, or pretending you're untouchable. No, I'm talking about the deep, real strength that lies within you. The kind of strength that only comes from confronting the toughest moments in your life, staring them down, and rising stronger. Let's contrast for a second. Boys versus men. A boy, when he faces rejection, he runs from it. He gets angry, bitter, and deflects responsibility. He might blame the world, blame other people, or even wallow in self-pity. He sees rejection as a personal attack. He doesn't have the emotional maturity to see it for what it really is, a challenge to rise above. A man, he sees rejection differently. He doesn't run from it. He doesn't let it destroy his sense of self. He accepts that rejection is part of the game of life. A man uses rejection as an opportunity to reflect, to grow, and to get better. He turns that pain into power. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever let rejection stop you dead in your tracks? Felt like it was the end of the road? If you have, you're not alone. We've all been there, but real strength comes from within. Rejection is the crucible where real men are made. It's where your character is forged. You see, rejection isn't just about the pain you feel in the moment. It's about what you do with that pain. Rejection is a moment of self-discovery. It's where you find out who you really are. Not just in the good times, but in the bad times too. When life kicks you down, do you get back up? That's what makes a man right there. The ability to rise again, to look at failure square in the face and say, I'm not done yet. Think of the Stoic principles for a moment. The Stoics taught us to focus on what we can control and let go of what we can't. You can't control other people's opinions of you. You can't control the outcome of every situation, but you can control your response. You can choose how to react when the world knocks you down. This is where emotional strength comes in. A man who understands Stoicism isn't overwhelmed by rejection. He doesn't get bogged down by the things outside his control. Instead, he focuses inward on his thoughts, his actions, and his mindset. And in that process, he discovers his own emotional fortitude. Take a moment and think about some of the greatest men in history. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, had to deal with rejection and hardship on a massive scale. He lost loved ones, faced betrayals, fought wars, and ruled an empire. Yet through all that pain, he remained centered. He wrote in his journals, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." What he's saying here is that rejection, obstacles, and setbacks aren't there to break you. They're there to help you grow. They become the stepping stones for your success, and you control how you walk across them. This is where men separate themselves from boys. Boys get caught in the moment, letting their emotions control them. Men rise above. They control their emotions, turn the pain. And here's the thing about rejection. It doesn't have to be the end. It doesn't have to be the thing that keeps you down. In fact, rejection can actually become the catalyst for emotional strength. It's like lifting weights. The more you lift, the stronger you get. And with each rejection, you're getting stronger. So instead of seeing rejection as a wall, see it as a lesson. Every rejection is teaching you something about yourself, your weaknesses, your resilience, your limits, and your potential. Here's a perfect example. Let's talk about Steve Jobs. Jobs was fired from the very company he created, Apple. fired, rejected by the company he poured his soul into. He could have walked away. He could have accepted that as his story. But no, he came back, stronger. He built Pixar. He transformed Apple. He changed the world. That rejection wasn't the end of Steve Jobs. It was the beginning of his greatest work. And that's what rejection can be for you too. It can be the spark that ignites your growth. So the next time life knocks you down, remember, this is your test. This is your moment to prove what you're made of. And I'm here to tell you, you're made of more than you think. Let's discuss why women chase men with status and what that really means. Let's get real for a second. When it comes to attraction, it's not just about looks or charm. There's something deeper going on. Women are biologically wired to be attracted to men with status. Now, before you start thinking this is about having a fat bank account or a flashy car, let me set the record straight. Status isn't about money, power, or fame. It's about something far more essential: presence, competence, and mission. Attraction is driven by more than just what you have. It's about who you are. It's about the energy you bring to a room, the confidence you exude, and the sense of purpose you carry with you every day. Let's break this down. Number 1. Women are wired to look for strength and security. Biologically, women are wired to seek out a mate who can provide strength, stability, and protection. Now, I'm not talking about some outdated caveman concept where women only want men who can bring home the biggest kill. No, this is about finding a partner who can offer emotional stability, security, and a future. In evolutionary terms, women have historically looked for men who could provide a safe environment for raising children. A man's strength, resilience, and ability to lead were traits that would ensure the survival and success of the family unit. These instincts haven't disappeared. They're just adapted to modern life. Number 2, status isn't just about money. It's about competence. Here's where things get interesting. Real status isn't about the digits in your bank account. It's about competence. Can you get things done? Are you reliable? Do you know what you're doing? And do you do it well? Competence is magnetic. Women are naturally drawn to men who have mastered something, whether that's their career, a craft, or even their own emotional intelligence. Think about it. When a woman sees a man who's skilled and confident in what he does, there's an undeniable attraction. That's because competence signals that he can handle life's challenges, that he's capable, and that he brings value to the table. Number 3, presence is key. It's about how you carry yourself. But competence isn't enough. It's also about presence, the energy you bring into a room when you walk in. Women are drawn to men who have an undeniable aura of confidence and self-assuredness. Now, this doesn't mean you have to be arrogant or self-centered. It's not about bragging or making everyone else feel small. True presence comes from being comfortable in your own skin. It's about being grounded, calm, and unshakable, no matter what's going on around you. Take a man like Barack Obama, one of the most respected figures in the world. His presence doesn't come from shouting over others or trying to assert dominance. It comes from an inner confidence, a calm authority that draws people to him without him having to say much at all. Women notice that. They're drawn to it because it signals emotional maturity, stability, and leadership. Number 4, mission and purpose. Women want a man who knows where he's going. Now here's the big one: purpose. A man with no direction, no mission, no vision. He's like a ship lost at sea, and that's not attractive. Women want to see that. You have a clear sense of purpose, a mission you're working toward, and a vision for your future. Why? Because purpose creates meaning. A man with purpose is a man who's committed to something bigger than himself. Whether it's building a business, advancing in his career, or dedicating himself to a cause, women are attracted to men who have a mission they're passionate about. Think of someone like Elon Musk. Sure, he's a billionaire and has massive success. But the real reason women and people in general are drawn to him is because he's working towards something monumental, changing the world through technology and space exploration. That kind of vision and dedication is magnetic. Number 5. The quiet confidence of high-status men. One thing all high-status men share is a sense of quiet confidence. They don't need to brag or shout about their accomplishments. Their actions speak louder than their words. They know who they are, what they stand for, and they're not afraid to be themselves. Take a man like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Sure, he's famous, but what really stands out about him isn't just his physical appearance. It's his ability to be vulnerable, open, and genuine. He's built an empire, not just through his physical strength, but through his personal brand, his authenticity, his work ethic, and his desire to help others. This is why women are attracted to him. They don't just see a physically strong man, they see someone who has emotional strength, who knows what he wants, and who isn't afraid to put in the work. That's true high status. It's not about flexing your muscles or showing off your latest acquisition. It's about being solid in who you are and confident in what you bring to the world. Number 6. Status and the inner game. But here's the kicker. Status isn't something you can just fake. Women can sense it. It's an inner game. You can't put on a facade for long. The most attractive men are the ones who've done the inner work. They've developed the self-discipline, the mental toughness, and the emotional intelligence that allows them to rise above the noise. This is why confidence doesn't come from pretending to be something you're not. It comes from doing the work to become someone worthy of admiration. It comes from developing a life of purpose and integrity. When you do that, your status becomes undeniable, not because you tell people about it, but because they feel it when you walk into the room. Number 7. Empowerment, not objectification. Now, let's clear something up. When we talk about women being attracted to men with status, this isn't about objectifying women or reducing them to a simple equation of attraction. This is about recognizing the natural dynamics of attraction and using that knowledge to become the best version of yourself. When you focus on building your own status, not by chasing women, but by building your presence, competence, and purpose, you naturally attract women who respect you for who you are, not what you have. This is empowering for both men and women. It's about being the kind of person who's worth respecting, and when you embody that respect, women will be drawn to you, not because you have money, but because you have something much more powerful: inner strength and purpose. Now, let's break down some misconceptions about status. It's not what you think. Let's clear up some of the biggest misconceptions about status. There's this idea floating around that status is all about flaunting wealth, driving the fastest cars, and living for the approval of others. And let's be honest, we see it everywhere, on social media, in movies, and even in the way some people present themselves in real life. But here's the truth. Status isn't about flexing your wealth, your looks, or your popularity. It's not about impressing others or seeking validation from people who don't even know you. Now, don't get me wrong. Having money and success can certainly help your status, but that's not the core of it. Real status comes from within, It's about the strength of your character, your purpose, and the quiet confidence you... Internal status, on the other hand, is something much deeper. It's the strength of your character, the integrity you uphold, and the consistency of your actions. It's the calm in your voice when things are falling apart, the respect you command, because you've earned it, not because you're trying to prove something. Internal status is about living by your own standards, not the ones set by others. It's about having your own sense of self-worth, independent of the opinions and judgments of those around you. This is the kind of status that lasts. When you live with internal status, your confidence isn't based on what other people think of you. It's grounded in who you are and what you stand for. And that's magnetic. People are drawn to that kind of strength. They respect it because it's real. They see that you don't need their approval to feel worthy. This is where the idea of self-validation comes in. So many people, especially in today's world of constant comparison, rely on external validation. They seek likes, comments, and applause. They live for the momentary boost they get when someone else tells them they're good enough. But true strength, real status, comes from self-validation. It's about knowing deep down that you're doing the right thing, that you're on the right path regardless of what anyone else says. This isn't arrogance, it's inner peace. Take a step back and think about it. A man with real internal status doesn't need to announce it to the world. He doesn't need to constantly prove himself. He lives with quiet strength. His actions speak louder than his words, and his presence commands respect without needing to demand it. This quiet strength is rooted in purpose. A man with purpose doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. He's too focused on his mission to care about the opinions of those who aren't aligned with it. He knows where he's headed, and he's not distracted by the noise. And here's the key: real status isn't about sitting back and waiting for things to happen. It's about purpose-driven action. When you have a clear purpose, when you know what you stand for, and you pursue that relentlessly, it creates a natural magnetism. People are drawn to those who have a mission, whether that's to build something meaningful, help others, or just live a life of integrity. Purpose isn't something that can be faked. It's something you have to live out every single day. The more you commit to your mission, the more you build your internal status. And when you have internal status, external status follows naturally. So let's debunk the myth. You don't need to flex your wealth or play the people-pleaser game to build real status. You don't need to be someone you're not or try to impress others with your possessions. True status comes from within. It's about who you are, how you carry yourself, and the purpose you live by. Focus on building your internal status. Cultivate your character, live by your own standards, and pursue your mission relentlessly. When you do that, you won't have to seek validation. People will recognize your strength, and that's the kind of status that lasts. So how do you actually build real status? Let's take a look. Let's be clear about something. Real status isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. It's a product of who you are and what you choose to work on every single day. The Stoics understood this well. They didn't wait for status to be handed to them. They earned it by building their character, their strength, and their wisdom. If you want to build real status, it starts with purpose. And without purpose, nothing else matters. A man without purpose is like a ship without a rudder. He's just drifting, and that's not the way to build real power. Why are you here? What's your mission? Why do you get up every morning and keep moving forward? These aren't just philosophical questions. They're the foundation of a meaningful life. When you have a clear sense of purpose, you don't waste time on distractions. Your actions align with your mission, and you make decisions based on your long-term goals, not short-term comfort. It's like a compass guiding you through life's challenges. Purpose gives you direction. It gives you meaning. Without it, everything else you do will feel empty, and people can sense that emptiness. When you live with purpose, you don't need to look for approval from others. Your life is already guided by your own internal compass. Now let's talk about discipline. Without it, nothing gets done. A man who can't discipline himself is someone who'll never earn respect. You can talk all day about your ambitions, but if you don't have the discipline to follow through, they're just words. Real discipline isn't about being rigid or harsh on yourself. It's about committing to your goals and doing the work, even when it's hard. Every man who achieves something of value has discipline at his core. It's the ability to show up day after day, even when the motivation isn't there. You can't rely on motivation alone. It fades. Discipline is what keeps you going when the excitement wears off. It's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent. Think about this. When you don't have discipline, you're at the mercy of your moods, your impulses, and the distractions around you. But when you have it, you have control over your life. And let's face it, control over your life is what earns you respect, not just from others, but from yourself too. Competence. Now that's where the magic happens. The more skilled you become at something, the more power you build. The truth is, competence is sexy. It's magnetic. People are drawn to people who know what they're doing. Whether it's your career, your craft, or even just how you handle day-to-day challenges, competence sets you apart. And it doesn't have to be flashy, it just has to be real. A competent man doesn't have to boast about his skills. His work speaks for itself. When you're good at something, people notice. They respect it. They trust you. And when you're trusted, your influence grows. It's not about pretending to know everything. It's about showing up with the skills and knowledge you've earned and using them to make an impact. The Stoics understood this. They weren't about pretending to be wise. They were about becoming wise by learning, reflecting, and acting. It's not about perfection. It's about continuous growth. Keep sharpening your skills. Keep learning and keep growing. That's the kind of competence that earns respect. But it's not just about what you can do. It's also about how you show up. There's a certain presence a man can have when he walks into a room. It's not about being loud or drawing attention to yourself. It's about the calm confidence you exude without saying a word. A man with presence doesn't need to prove himself. His confidence speaks for itself. Think about someone like Barack Obama. There's an undeniable presence when he speaks. It's not just because he's a former president. It's because he's comfortable in his own skin. He knows who he is, what he stands for, and that kind of confidence is contagious. Presence isn't something you can fake. It's about being grounded in who you are, being fully present in the moment, and letting that quiet strength radiate outwards. When you can do this, you don't need to chase attention. It comes to you naturally. It's the mark of a man who's comfortable with himself. Now, integrity, it's the foundation of everything. Without integrity, everything else falls apart. Integrity means doing what you say you'll do, even when no one is looking. It's about being honest, reliable, and living by your values. A man without integrity is a man who can't be trusted, and without trust, no real connection or respect can be built. It's easy to talk a big game, but when it comes down to it, people respect you not for what you say, but for what you do. Integrity means keeping your word, sticking to your principles, and owning your mistakes when you make them. This isn't just about others respecting you, it's about respecting yourself. Without integrity, all the external achievements, all the recognition in the world don't matter. People can tell when you're not being real. Integrity is about being honest and true to who you are, even when it's tough. It's the foundation on which your character is built, and it's what makes you a man worth following. And finally, solitude. We live in a noisy world. Everywhere you go, There's noise, social media, the 24/7 news cycle, distractions everywhere. But here's the truth. Solitude builds power. It's in the quiet moments that you find clarity. When you're alone, you have the space to think, to reflect, to connect with your deeper self. It's in solitude that you develop the mental toughness to handle whatever life throws your way. The Stoics were masters of this. They understood that solitude wasn't just for rest, it was for growth. When you take time to step away from the noise, you become stronger. You learn to rely on yourself. You learn to listen to your inner voice and align your actions with your true purpose. Solitude isn't about isolating yourself from the world. It's about finding your center so you can show up stronger and more focused when you engage with it. So if you want to build real status, you need to commit to these principles. Find your purpose, build discipline, master your skills, carry yourself with presence, act with integrity, and embrace solitude. When you do this, real power follows. It's not a quick fix, it's a lifetime commitment. But that's what makes it so powerful. This is the Stoic path to true strength, and it's the path that leads to real, lasting status. Let's talk about the Stoic mindset, how being indifferent to the outcome can change everything. One of the most powerful principles of Stoicism is the idea of indifference to the outcome. And while this might sound strange or counterintuitive at first, when you truly understand it, it becomes one of the most liberating ideas you can embrace. What does it mean to be indifferent to the outcome? It means you focus on the process, the actions, the effort, the daily grind, not on whether or not you succeed in the way you hope. It means accepting that the outcome is often beyond your control, and yet still giving everything you have in each moment. The Stoics were not concerned with winning or losing, success or failure, because they understood that these things are external, things outside of their true control. What they cared about was doing what was right according to their values, regardless of the outcome. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is a man who ruled an empire, fought wars, faced betrayal and lost loved ones. Yet he remained steadfast because he understood that his power was not in the outcomes of these events, but in how he responded to them. His focus was on controlling his mind and his actions, not the uncontrollable forces of the world around him. In your own life, you can apply this idea. Whether you're facing rejection, failure, or success, it's your response that matters. It's your focus on doing the work, on staying true to your mission, regardless of how things turn out. Rejection and failure are not things to be ashamed of. In fact, they are inevitable. No one achieves greatness without facing failure. No one earns respect without experiencing rejection. When you're attached to the idea that failure is shameful, you will always live in fear of it. But the Stoics teach us that failure is simply a part of the process. It's not a reflection of your worth. It's an opportunity to learn, to grow, to become better. Think about it. Every successful person you admire has failed at some point. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Steve Jobs was fired from Apple, the company he founded. These men didn't let their failures define them. Instead, they used them as stepping stones to reach their highest potential. This is the Stoic mindset in action. It's not about avoiding failure. It's about embracing it. It's about understanding that failure doesn't make you weak or unworthy. It makes you human. It's the courage to keep going, even when things don't turn out the way you wanted. There's another Stoic principle that ties into this idea: amor fati, love your fate. This doesn't mean that you have to love every event that happens to you, but rather accept it fully. Whatever comes your way, whether it's good or bad, see it as an opportunity. The Stoics didn't try to avoid suffering. They didn't try to escape difficult circumstances. Instead, they welcomed them as a chance to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. When you adopt this mindset, you free yourself from the fear of rejection, the fear of failure. You stop looking for things to go perfectly and start embracing whatever comes with open arms. You trust that whatever happens, it's part of your journey. And most importantly, you trust that you have the strength to handle whatever life throws at you. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. That's the key. Rejection, failure, success, they're all just events. The power lies in how you choose to respond. Do you react with frustration and fear, or do you take it in stride, knowing that you have the power to move forward, no matter what? Indifference to outcome means focusing on what's in your control, the process, the effort you put in, the work you do, the growth you experience. Everything else is outside your control, and that's okay. When you stop attaching yourself to outcomes, you free yourself from the stress and anxiety that come with them. Think about the times when you've been most successful in your life. Were you focusing on the end result, or were you focused on doing the work to the best of your ability? When you take pride in the process, the outcome often takes care of itself. In the end, the Stoic mindset is about letting go of the need to control everything. It's about accepting life as it comes, without resistance. It's about trusting the process and knowing that whatever happens, you are exactly where you need to be. And finally, how does rejection build charisma and magnetism? Let's unpack that. When you think about charismatic people, what comes to mind? Is it the way they speak, the way they carry themselves, the confidence they exude? But here's the secret. Charisma and magnetism aren't traits you're born with. They're earned through real-life experiences. And guess what? Rejection is one of the best ways to earn it. Let me break this down for you. Think about the times in your life when you've been rejected. Maybe it was a job interview you didn't get, a relationship that didn't work out, or a project that failed. In the moment, rejection can feel like a punch in the gut. But what happens when you take a step back and look at the bigger picture? You realize that each of those rejections taught you something invaluable. They built your confidence. The real kind of confidence that doesn't come from fake bravado or pretending to be someone you're not. When you push through rejection and keep moving forward, you develop a kind of earned confidence. This is the type of confidence that sticks. It's not built on surface-level successes or temporary victories. It's grounded in the knowledge that no matter how many times you fail, you can always get back up and keep going. And that's powerful. Why? Is this kind of confidence magnetic? Because it shows people that you're resilient. You faced hardship, but you didn't break. You kept your head up and kept going. That's what makes people trust you. When you've been through the fire and come out stronger on the other side, people can't help but be drawn to you. You have something others can't fake. Real life experience. Now let's talk about how rejection builds your social muscle. It's like going to the gym. The more you practice, the stronger you get. Rejection is no different. When you face rejection and handle it with grace and composure, you build a kind of emotional strength. You get better at handling difficult situations, and your ability to connect with others deepens. This makes you more magnetic in social settings. Every time you experience rejection, you get a little better at reading people, at understanding what works and what doesn't in conversations. You stop taking things personally. You stop seeking approval in every interaction. And most importantly, you stop fearing rejection because you know it doesn't define you. Think about the difference between a person with a scarcity mindset and one with an abundance mindset. Someone with a scarcity mindset views rejection as a loss, a sign that they're not good enough, or that there's a limited amount of opportunities. They fear it, avoid it, and let it control their behavior. On the other hand, someone with an abundance mindset understands that rejection isn't the end of the world. They know that there are always more opportunities, more chances, and more people to meet. Rejection is just a part of the process. It's a stepping stone. The person with the abundance mindset doesn't need to impress everyone. They don't cling to people or situations out of fear. They're comfortable knowing that the right people will come into their lives at the right time. This shift in perspective is what makes them magnetic. They're not desperate. They're not chasing validation. They're confident in their own work. Let me give you an example. Think about Steve Jobs. Jobs faced rejection early in his career. He was even fired from the company he founded, Apple. But rather than letting that rejection break him, he used it to fuel his next chapter. He didn't view it as a failure. He saw it as an opportunity to grow. He came back with a new level of clarity, determination, and purpose. People didn't just respect him, they were drawn to his passion and vision. That's the power of embracing rejection, instead of running from it. Another example is Oprah Winfrey, who was famously told she wasn't fit for television early in her career. Imagine what would have happened if she had let that rejection define her. Instead, she used it as a stepping stone, building the empire she has today. Oprah's charm comes from the fact that she has been rejected, failed, and faced criticism, but she always rises above it. She doesn't need external validation to know her worth. Rejection builds a certain type of magnetism, the kind that says, "I don't need your approval to feel good about myself." When you can walk through rejection with grace, when you can stand tall even when things don't go your way, you automatically become more attractive to others. You exude a confidence that is not fragile but solid. It's the kind of confidence that makes people want to be around you, because they sense that you are grounded, resilient, and unshakable. So, the next time rejection comes your way, don't shrink away from it. Lean into it. Understand that it's helping you build your social muscle, your confidence, and your ability to connect with others. Embrace it, because it's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. Rejection isn't the end. It's just a part of the process. Every time you face it and keep moving forward, you're building a magnetic presence that attracts people and opportunities. And that's what makes you unstoppable. I want to leave you with this final message. Become the man you'd chase. All right, let's get real. If you're still chasing women, status, or the approval of others, stop right now. I mean it. Stop chasing, because you're chasing the wrong things. Here's the hard truth. When you chase something, it's because you don't have it. And the moment you stop chasing and start becoming the man who attracts what he wants, that's when everything changes. So ask yourself, what kind of man do you want to be? What does he look like? How does he carry himself? What does he stand for? It's time to stop looking outward for validation and start building the kind of man you can be proud of, whether anyone else notices or not. It's time to stop chasing women, chasing status, chasing the next approval or like from someone else. That's not what powerful men do. Powerful men know their worth doesn't come from anyone else's validation. They stop seeking approval, and instead, they create the life they want to live. This is about becoming a man of power, presence, and purpose. And that starts with owning your life, taking responsibility for who you are, what you do, and how you show up every single day. You need to stop waiting for life to give you permission. Stop waiting for someone to tell you you're good enough. You are already enough. But the man you are today is not the man you will become. The man you're becoming is the one who will look at rejection and say, "Bring it on." Rejection isn't something that breaks you. It's fuel for your fire. Every no you face, every door that slams in your face, it's just one more reason to get back up and push forward. Rejection is not a setback, it's a setup. It's setting you up for something greater. If you allow it to, rejection will refine you, sharpen you, and push you to become the version of yourself that you're capable of being. That's the real secret to power. It comes from facing your obstacles head-on, using them to become stronger, better, and more resilient. Let me put this into perspective. Look at the man you are right now. Maybe you're still doubting yourself, unsure of your purpose, or stuck in the habit of seeking validation. But that's okay, because every great man has been there. The difference between the man who stays there and the one who transforms is simple. The man who transforms uses everything, success, failure, and rejection, as fuel. He takes the hits, he learns, he grows, and he becomes a better version of himself because of it. Think about the man you'd chase. Is he the one who's constantly seeking validation, or is he the one who's grounded in his own sense of worth, in his mission, in his vision for the future? Is he the one who shows up every day with a clear purpose and doesn't let anything knock him off course? I'm telling you this now, become that man. Stop waiting for life to happen. Stop chasing external things that don't define you. Start defining yourself. You are in control. Your actions, your purpose, your resilience, that is what makes you magnetic. That's what gives you the power to attract the life, the people, and the opportunities you want. And listen, rejection is your fuel. Every time you face it, every time it stings, remember that it's just another opportunity to grow. Another chance to prove to yourself that you are more than capable. Rejection doesn't mean you're not good enough. It means you're learning, evolving, and getting closer to your true self. This journey from weakness to strength is not a straight line. It's messy. It's full of bumps, failures, and setbacks, but the man who is willing to embrace that journey, the one who keeps going when things get tough, is the one who wins in the end. And he doesn't win by chance. He wins because he's put in the work, he's faced his fears, and he's built himself into someone who can't be ignored. So become the man you'd chase. Become the man who attracts success, respect, and relationships, not because he's chasing them, but because he's become undeniable. This is your moment. This is your path. Don't waste it. All right, let's wrap this up. If you've ever been rejected, whether it was in a relationship, a job opportunity, or even just by life itself, remember this. If you got rejected, that means you're in the arena. And that's exactly where men are made. You see, the arena is where the real work happens. It's not the safe place. It's the place where challenges, rejection, and adversity shape you. That's where you build character, where you grow stronger, and where you become the man you're meant to be. Every time you face rejection, every time you get knocked down, you're building something bigger than yourself. You're strengthening your resilience, sharpening your resolve, and paving the way for a future where nothing can break you. So let me ask you, when was the last time rejection made you stronger? I want to hear your story. Drop a comment below and share how rejection has shaped your journey, because I know it's made you who you are today. And for those of you who might be feeling stuck, remember, you're not alone. We've all been there. If this message helped you, consider subscribing and hit the bell icon. I've got more Stoic wisdom coming your way, and I don't want you to miss it. Take a moment to think about everything we've talked about today. Let rejection fuel your fire. Let your journey to greatness begin now. Until next time, stay strong, stay focused, and always remember, the arena is where men are made. There's one thing that separates the men who truly rise above from the ones who stay stuck, and it's not success, wealth, or fame. It's rejection. Think about it for a moment. How do you respond when life knocks you down? When someone tells you no, or when things don't go the way you planned? Rejection, it's the ultimate test of a man's strength. It doesn't just break you, it either makes you or it crushes you. The truth is, how you handle rejection says more about you than anything else. Now let me ask you, when was the last time you faced rejection? And what did you do about it? Did it make you stronger, or did it shake you to your core? In today's video, we're diving deep into why rejection isn't something to fear, but something to embrace. We'll explore how rejection tests your true masculinity and why, when handled correctly, it can become a powerful tool for growth. But that's not all. We're also going to talk about why women, yes, women, chase men with status. And no, it's not about money or fame. It's something deeper, something that attracts them on a biological and psychological level. We'll unpack how status is built, not just from external validation, but through strength, purpose, and the Stoic mindset. It's about being a man who doesn't need to chase approval, because he already has it inside himself. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you liked the video, so that you can help me continue spreading Stoic philosophy. If you haven't subscribed yet, I highly recommend you do so and activate the bell so you don't miss any future videos on Stoicism.